Hello, and welcome back to the Vineyard Podcast, your weekly dose of fun, laughter, banter, and a whole lot of realness. Now, we have a bit of explaining to do. Because it has been a minute. We were just checking is it called a portfolio? The videos.
The videos that we've been doing so far.
Yeah, and the last time we were on set, the last time we actually shot and released a video was 12th of June, which was just about a week before things started going south in Kenya. Sliding. But we are here, we are back. We are so happy to be back on your screens. A lot has happened, which we'll be also discussing in the course of this episode. But we just want to say we are so happy to be back. Timo, how do you feel? It's been a minute.
It's been a minute since I've been here. Mkisikia English imekataa.
We are refining, we are practicing. You know, now we are
starting.
Yeah, now we are a bit shy. We're like, oh my God. But sasa tuko, we are here and we are back.
Need to be composed.
Yes. Now we need to explain something small. Number one, as you may be able to see, one of the regulars on the show is not with us. That is Miss Hope Nyokabi, our resident wakili. She is away on good things. Life has been busy in a good way. So she's engaged, but we will see her back on this set very soon. Once she's able to join us, she'll be here, but she passes her love, she passes her greetings. She misses, of course, the Vineyard set, but once she's back, you'll definitely be able to see her back on set. And now we have a guest.
Boy child is being represented.
Today I am, I'm usually feeling very secure because it's me and Hope and
me against Hope.
We are used to Kingori being the only man on set. Now I am alone.
The tables have turned.
So we have a guest, a very, very good friend to the Vineyard Podcast. He's always commenting on our videos. He's a personal friend to both of us and even to Hope, who is away. So we want you to introduce yourself. So yes, Mr. Mutemi, tell us who you are and tell us how you feel to be with us on the Vineyard Podcast.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. It is a blessed opportunity. My name is Samuel Mutemi. Yes. As has been said, I am a friend to the podcast since day one.
Yes.
Also a friend to the hosts. And I'm really glad to be here. It is a prayer answered. Kwa tuenda kwa maombi tunaambia Mungu Baba. Tunamaliza tu kuwatch episode hivi. Nasema Mungu Baba.
There shall come a day.
Nikumbuke Mungu.
Nieke kiti hapo.
Who is God? Chap. Yes.
Yeah, so we're really glad to be here.
Yes.
Really glad to contribute to this amazing establishment.
Awesome. What do you do, Mutimi?
I am a software engineer.
Period.
By profession, I'm a techie.
Yes.
I do other things, but those ones are on the side. But yeah, techie by profession.
Yes, fantastic. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here. Straight to today's conversation. I feel like intro leo may prolong, but it's because we've been away for a minute. So, by now you've seen the title. How did we end up here? The past 1 month has been crazy. Time looks like, I don't know. You feel like you don't know how much can happen in such a short period of time.
True.
Because if you look today is 22nd July. In the past just slightly over 1 month. So today is 24th of July. And I think the past slightly over 1 month has we've seen a lot of things happening in Kenya, in our governance space, in the political space. Of course, with the rise of the Gen Z movement. So proud to be a Gen Z. I was telling my mom, even when I'm 60, I'll still be a Gen Z. Because we are Gen Z. We are just Gen Z.
We are Gen Z for life.
I feel like it's such a... Before it had a bad rep, now we have such a good rep, just for what has been happening. And I want us to just start off by taking stock and seeing where did we begin and how do you feel? How did we end up here? Where did this all begin? Because I don't feel it's not possible for it to have just started from nowhere. Slowly by slowly, people have been disgruntled. We have seen the political class living extremely lavish lives, and then you are there with your polished bachelor's degree, hitting the streets for 3 years hammocking, and there's just, I think, a lot generally. Business people who are already established, there's been, the way stuff brews under, and then one day it
just overflows.
Yeah, it just overflows. So I'll spare you, Mutemi, because you are new. Let me start with Kingori. Kingori. Tell us, how do you feel things have ended up here, and what has been your contribution towards the movement this far?
I think for starters, even me, I didn't think we would be here because from the word go, sadly, politics and me were only when I was voting, and even when I was voting, it was because
did you vote in the last election?
I voted because kelele ya nyumba, but I think, as you said earlier, it's been something that has been piling up over and over and over. I think once you hear something over and over again, and I think we're a generation that we were brought up and we notice what is not working, what is working very fast. Able to see, this is too much. We can't be having the same scandals. It becomes normal. Scandals, in fact, in Kenya, $1 billion has become, and I've never tasted $1 billion, but it has become so. In fact, when it's still millions, wewe uko na shida.
In fact, kuna pesa ukiiba hata as fine. After $1 billion has been lost, $6 billion ilibwa last time. To recover.
I think that pile up of normalizing things that shouldn't be normalized. I think it reached a point we were like, no more, because now we are seeing. You know how you're told you're the future. Now we're actually stepping into a future, and you're like, hey, it's not for the faint-hearted.
We are not the future anymore. We are the now.
Yes. And now you're counting the cost, and you're saying, this won't work for me. So it becomes personal. It becomes, for things to move, there needs to be a stance, I think. Because I'm trying to apply for this, I'm trying to get this, but at every turn, there's a roadblock. I don't know this person. I need this amount of money to access this. You're like, no.
You're like, this really cannot be.
This cannot be it.
Tulianza kwa reject finance bill. Hapo ndio tulianza. Kimchezo. Tunacheka to reject. Tunaona imepitishwa. Like, no. We are going back.
We're doing this.
We are going back there, and we actually saw the results. Mutemi, wewe ulikuwa kwa reject finance bill ama uliingilia movement wapi wewe?
Mimi hata I think nilikuwa reject. But I think it started way before. I think can I say even prior to the current presidency. Because things were just piling up. The taxes started back then. We used to complain hapa na pale, and then sometimes they listen, sometimes they don't.
Electricity just started going up slowly.
Slowly. And then we were starting to talk about tokens and KPLC. And then kidogo, we were brought for that housing levy. And then guys they were up and about it. But it didn't go to the levels that it went to. So it was passed, and then that whole thing started. I think we stayed for about a year. It's about a year since the housing levy thing started.
It was last year.
And then now this year, you see the finance bill. And then you're like, hey, if this is going on like this, it means it's going to continue going on like that. The same time, we had protests. I think there's somewhere I was reading. By half of this year, we had like 6 different protests. For
and femicide,
there was.
Then also nurses were tired.
Teachers
were like, please no.
So it's like every sector in the government, every sector in the nation was just, things were collapsing. We're not sure what's happening. Everyone is going on protests here, protests there, and it was just, I think it was a matter of time before now everyone said, hey bwana, situungane tufanye kitu pamoja. And I think the finance bill was there.
That was the
spark that lit the fire. And then now we found ourselves in the finance bill thing. I think it was also a moment of I think just reflection and also just discovery for youths, because we've never seen such a thing happen. We've never seen such unity. And it's faceless. It's
and it's in the urban areas. It's not kitambo used to be unaisikia huko nje.
Now it's here.
Now it's starting here.
And it was organized on social media, on Twitter. And that's why I was wondering, mnatafuta sponsors, mimi sijaipata pesa. Nilitumia fare yangu. I think it was a very openly organized thing. Even if the security forces wanted to see, they'll just go to Twitter.
You can track.
Because unaenda tu unaangalia tunakutana wapi. Archives. And then hapo ndio tunaenda. And I think when now the youth realize that, hey, this is something new that we are doing.
Yes.
And I think the urge to push it a little further,
Yeah.
you know, to apply it to all our problems.
Yes.
You know, not just the finance
You
bill.
got the
Now we
foot,
want,
the
yeah,
leg.
you start pushing. How far can I go? Tunaweza finya hadi wapi?
Yeah.
So I think that's where I can say we're
Yeah.
at right now. Yeah.
And you know, the way we are speaking, we are so passionate, we are so aware. May I want to find out, have you always been passionate about politics and governance? Has it, has it been something that has been, because Mimi, if I'm honest, even to watch 9 o'clock news, like in the month of March, April, you have to beat me, tie me with a rope to sit and just watch news. I'm just like, this is so boring, man. Can we like watch something else? Tangu tuanze maandamano, I cannot even 7 o'clock. Niko hapo hivi.
You want to hear
Nothing
state
can
affairs.
pass me by.
Mm.
And I feel, what is it called? For a lot of us young people, I know there are those ones who are just inherently in love with politics. Like you've always grown up loving and just being interested. Unasoma gazeti. Wewe umesoma gazeti start to end. Ewa unakaa mtu wa kusoma gazeti.
Mimi nimesoma gazeti.
Somanga gazeti.
Ile lakini naanza katikati.
May I remove that katikati. There's that one which has like nice. It has a crossword. Lifestyle.
See, that's the one I'm saying.
Oh, that's the one.
Yeah, ndo katikati yangu.
That's the one you're talking about. Yeah. So I just want us to think. Have you always loved politics? Has it been something ingrained in you, or do you feel like it's necessity and the situation of the country that has ignited the patriot in you to now be what is it called, more abreast with current affairs and more involved, so that pia wewe ukishout reject ujue unasema una reject nini? Yeah.
You know, this will be the point where I hope you'll give us a big one.
I kikitu tu.
Necessity is the mother of creation. I think before this, and I think it started way back in high school, whereby even when I elect leaders, those leaders are not honored by the school.
Yeah.
They choose other leaders. So I wouldn't be as in, because I knew it didn't matter. But then, coming to now, you see, it actually matters.
Yeah.
What I think and how I go about it. But before, you do you, because at the end of the day, at least it was something that was being ingrained in my mind. I'm the one who's choosing.
Yeah.
I'll give you the liberty to think you can. Then, but at the end of the day, if you don't pick who I want, at least for our school, it is a no-go.
Yeah.
And I used to hate that. And I was like, mbona mtu amini
Ilikuwa fake democracy.
Yeah.
Okay.
At the end of the day, they know what they want and who they want. Yeah.
But let me tell you, go on Twitter, you start Googling things, you read the Constitution, you start looking into, because I do economics, you start looking into some data, you're like, okay, this is a new face. I even have a book now called Kenya.
Kuna kibali.
You have a
Jaza kabisa.
Bana, writing.
Yeah.
I've turned you into a political analyst.
Imagine. And a professional demonstrator. Maandamano starter pack. Me, my bag for Maandamano, I don't even unpack it. Like right now, kwanza tangu MOH protests, like I have a bag with all the essentials. Just waiting for me to pick it.
Colgate.
Out.
Mask.
To the street.
Water.
Yeah, you plug and play.
Mutami, as you're answering, I want you to add this twist to it. Do you feel young people not have a place particularly, but do we need to be involved in politics? Because in the past we really have been a very unconcerned lot. If we even look at, when was the last election? 2020.
There was voter apathy in youth, actually.
A lot of voter apathy. It's like, you know what, at the end of the day, how does it really affect my life? Tumekuja kuona.
Now we know.
Tumekuja kuona.
Affected us directly.
Because bad governance, it trickles down to the lowest of what
and
is
you
it
see,
called?
now we are earning a bit of money. Now we are feeling the page.
Umelipa pay as you earn.
Tunalipa token kila siku ina increase. I got this amount last month. What's happening? What's happening?
It's directly affecting you. So you can answer the way Tim answered, but also add that aspect too. Do you feel like young people, we have a place to play in politics? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Starting with whether I was disabreast about the knowledge of politics.
Yeah.
I'd say I wasn't completely off.
Yeah.
I used to follow, but not as much.
Yeah.
I used to get into, I never watched news, but I used to get into articles. I like reading articles on the phone. So I get recommendations. I see, hey, this money has been stolen, read the article. Or this is happening, I read the article.
Did you feel anything when you read it? You're just like,
I mean, I was like, this is bad, but scroll.
It's like, oh, oops, okay. Sad.
Inchi bwana. You see, that's where I was at.
Yes.
But when everything started happening now, when the whole finance bill thing started blowing up, then it prompted you to do something about it. You know, people were discussing the finance bill, and I was like, what is this finance bill that people are really talking about? But you could hear bits and pieces from other people. Wanasikia, anataka land, nini, vitu kama hizo. But now you don't really understand it for yourself. So I went, and that's when people really started to share the information. So the finance bill itself was sent to different WhatsApp groups. So I could go to the WhatsApp group, nafungua the document itself, and then I just look at it, and I'm like, Kizungu first sentence.
Hiyo kitu ni mzito.
But then guys came up with very innovative ways to disseminate the information. So they came up with GPTs for just breaking down the information, and it gives you a summary of what is inside. So yeah, that's what I did. I went through everything, and then I realized, this thing is actually serious. And even the way people are talking and all that. Fast forward, got me at a point where I had uninstalled Twitter before. I installed it back because I needed real-time information, especially when you're in Tao. When you're in protest, you need to know, kunaenda aje. Unaingia Twitter kidogo, unaona, polisi wako, sawa. So that's why I installed Twitter, and also just to follow up on what everyone was doing. Also, you know, everyone was shooting videos. So aside from the national, media houses, you could tell from Twitter. And Twitter is so raw. You know,
there's no videos.
There's no. So that's where I was at. I used to get home and get on Citizen TV, YouTube Live, naka hapo, and then I'm just watching Citizen TV. Nilikuwa na kachai.
Like we were all doing the same.
It's the same thing. Nilikuwa napitia kwa duka na nunua tu mandazi 3. So nilikuwa na mandazi, chai, na nilikuwa na computer hapo, tuna watch news. At some point you're like, hey, I have become what I dreaded.
And for me it was funny. It was my mom who wanted to change the channel. Mom, ngoja ishe kwanza. Wacha tumalize kusikia nini nasema. Then you can change and listen to it.
So I think it really bumped up my need to know what's really going on. And also to the question of, is it necessary for youths to actually, be involved? I think it is. I think if you haven't seen the evidence before, I don't know what can help. Because right now we are coming to realize that the people who are in power right now, the people who are the leadership class, if we can call them that, they'll be there for a time. Even if they try to extend. A human is a human. You get old at some point.
In 10 years, watakuwa was there.
Exactly. And everything else will be left to us. The consequences and the benefits, if they are there, they'll be left to us. And I think that the consequences will be a bit much. So it's actually up to us to say that this thing is not for us. And it's nice that now we've come to that knowledge. And I like how now different sectors and organizations, private sectors, are really trying to share information. Recently, there was this thing that was passed by the Senate about anti-corruption laws that were passed. That they are trying to ease in those anti-corruption laws and it was passed to Parliament so that they can approve it.
But that system does not make sense.
I don't understand the system. But
why do you need to pass it through? Okay, but okay.
I don't exactly understand how it went. But the Senate passed something that needs to go to
be approved
by Parliament. And that thing was brought to light by some guys on X. Initially, I think that's where I saw it. So they are trying to reduce those anti-corruption guidelines that were set before, so that, for example, some members of the government can actually trade with their own companies.
Or the whole conflict of interest thing.
Yeah, conflict of interest.
Governor can. I'm like, how do you play around with money and yourself?
Yeah.
You create a problem, you solve it.
You're the one who offers the solution. You create the problem and the solution.
And I think it sets a very dangerous precedent.
We have no end,
And it's a very. And that's an example of what I'm saying. That was brought out on X.
On social media platforms.
Yeah, social media. Someone just came up and said, hey, this thing has been passed and it's going here and this is what it means. It's breaking it down for us guys. Because not everyone is a lawyer. Not everyone knows the implications of what is being passed. So I think it's really, really important for everyone to be involved in whatever capacity you can. If I see a bill for, that is being passed that, probably influences technology in some way, or people who deal with technology, I'd be open to, breaking it down and posting it. And I say, this is my field. Yeah. So I break it down and tell this is what this means, So having that, cross-discipline, collaboration happening is really, really nice.
Nice. I saw a comment. I saw a comment on one of the major influencers who has been rallying us because we say we are leaderless. For sure, we are leaderless, but we have the bigger voices within the movement. And that's where, this is, I think, where I want us to start wrapping up, because this is one of the last questions we'll answer. But I saw that comment and it made me think, and I want to hear what you guys think. I'll also share my thoughts. The comment was, a good dancer knows when to exit the stage. Where we've reached, because we are discussing how did we end up here. We have undermannered properly.
Hey! In fact, we've done it more than our parents.
Yes. My mom was telling me we are the modern day Maus. Like, of course, we maybe the Dan Kimathi.
we have not been dragged.
We've done our part. Yeah. But where we've reached now, because saizi tumefika wapi, Occupy JKIA ama tumefika wapi, things are going, it's like the movement is taking on a life of its own.
Every week there's something.
Every week there's something, and I think I've been following it, and now you get to the place where you start asking yourself critical questions, because I think one of the major successes of this movement is the fact that we all have independent minds. It's not a ship mentality, tumerundikwa mahali tukaambiwa twende barabara, no. Everybody sat, analyzed the information for themselves and decided why they need to go to the streets. It's been just a very intelligent way things have done, a very new way in Kenya. But where we have reached, as everybody is doing their own self-analysis, and like that comment that really made me think, mahali tumefika, what do you feel? Do you feel we need to continue injecting to finya zaidi, finya kabisa? And this is up to you. This is personal. Or rev. Scratch that. Humphrey, delete that. Or leave room for this dialogue that we know can always go south, because the minute you front people,
dialogue,
every
like
human has a price. See, we say that every human has a price. We always say, oh, we are young, blah blah blah, I'm patriotic. You will be given what you didn't even know you need, and you will just betray the movement. So yeah, do you feel it's time we seek other ways to go about pushing the agenda that we want to see, or tuendelee tu kuoccupy hadi sijui siku gani? Yeah,
I think we are like we tasted Mandamano, we saw its effects.
Yeah.
And this is just me, and it reaches a point whereby, because we saw its effectiveness, we are like, inject bwana.
We are like a child with candy.
Yeah. And also, I like what you said, it brings to the question what informs my view or my need to go out to andamana. And for me, kuandamana and what I want kidogo are clashing. Because I want to see progression, I want to see growth, I want to see development, I want to see policy change. And for me to see that, I need to go back and see what are the policies that I think are punitive, that I think are derogatory in terms of how our economy runs, what are the things, what are the governance and leadership things that I think. Then I come in front of them and say, according to me, I think when you're going through the budgeting process, public participation is not enough. I think we need to have more education, civic education in terms of how, and all those things.
Yeah.
But you see, I can't achieve that from where I sit by Andaman, because I need to gather knowledge first. I need to go and sit down and be like, I need to know what I want before I go in Andamana. And I need to also say I need to see what time it takes. And I know it's very ni ngumu kusema give someone time.
Yeah.
And when time is given, the things that have been done,
you're like,
that's not what I want.
Show us an ounce of goodwill. Just an ounce.
So I'm at a crossroads between the only thing that works for me is Mandamano, but at the same time, I need to do my due diligence so that when I front my needs, I know I can be able to assess in 2 months' time and see if it's genuine. I'm just being, being silenced. You know how you can give a child simu? You have not solved the issue. Wacha kulia shika. At times it feels like those sort is happening in governance in Kenya. Shika simu, wacha kulia. This is what you wanted. But in hindsight, I'm hungry. But I'll keep quiet because I'll be distracted. But once I discover by then I'm still hungry, I'll go back and cry. So I don't even know how to answer that question.
You've tried.
But I think there's a psychophancy in terms of Mandamano. And I think it's now being hijacked to do other things. And to tarnish a movement that started very well.
So well.
Because no one will remember the good. It will always be wametuibia, wametuchomea biashara.
Wamezima CBD. We can't work. We can't.
So we need to research and see. But it's fact. That's a certain fact. Never lies. Data never lies. If businesses were destroyed, whether it was Gen Z or Gunt, fact remains businesses were destroyed.
And it was unfortunately during the Gen Z movement. So it will always be slapped that the.
And as much as I'm not the Gunt, but it will be associated with me, guilty by association.
Yeah. All right, Mutemi, what are your thoughts?
Inject.
I am honestly conflicted. I will share my conflict here because I am not sure where to go. I just share my thoughts on both sides.
Yes.
So number one, what Timo and you guys are saying is true. You know, there has to be a place, there has to be a point where we reach and say, you know, now let's leave it to probably dialogue. Let's leave it to them to act and see how they act. Yeah. But then I ask myself, we've been here before. We've been here before. You know, it's like I sort of know what's going to happen. And we sort of saw that in the past week, you know. So I'm like, it's tricky. I'd understand why people would want to progress with the Mandamano right now. And there's a call for justice. And that one I support wholly. Because as we speak right now, there's still people who are missing. And we don't know where they are. And it's sad because they are not criminals. They are just people who tried to raise their voice. There are people who've been killed. And
there's nothing being said.
Nothing being said, nothing being done. Like there's no, it's like saying those lives don't matter. Yeah. And as much as we achieved a few things, I feel like the cost for it was a bit
very
too high. Yeah. And so I'd feel like, you know, my emotions would tell me, finya kabisa bana, because what is this? You know, as much as some of the things have been done, we still have, you know, these other things that need to be sorted. And top of the list is just justice for the guys who lost their lives, you know, and release the guys who are abducted if they are still alive. Because now, the way things are turning up, we're not even sure. So I think that's one thing. That's a way to look at it. The other way is, tukiendelea kufinya, pia strategy yao nikawa wanaendelea kutumaliza. So there's a conflict there. But I think
we are giving them, there was someone saying, we're giving them reason to implement. They were saying governance and criminal law go hand in hand. They are good with implementing the part that deals with criminal law. That one they know how to do fantastically.
No, properly.
But the other one. So I think it's just, for me, I'd say I'd gravitate towards, let's have dialogue. But
na nikwaza roho na hiji na dai.
That dialogue word is so painful, but
imeniumiza hata kutoka. Haijatoka vizuri. But you see, you're in a place where you're in between a rock and a hard place. So you have to choose something. And I'd understand why someone would want to finya. I'd understand why someone would want dialogue. All reasons are understandable. And that's why I'm saying I'm gravitating towards dialogue. For now. Because I feel like tumechuna kidogo wamesikia wa majamaa sio jokes. And might I say I don't even think the maandamano we did, even though it surprised us, is the biggest we can ever do, because as we're on the streets, I know a lot of people are at home.
Thika road bwana, we were walking.
And imagine that is with people at home. Kuna watu walikuwa nipigia uko sawa. And they're, you know, same age, same nini. Maybe they're just home chilling, others are at work. If they do something that angers Kenyans even more, it's possible that even more people can come out. So now it's just a wake-up call to them. Let's see how they do, but also under condition. Like we don't go to a table to speak if there are still people missing and if nothing has been done. That's what I would say.
And revert some things you have done.
And revert some things. So do these things and then we come and sit down.
We'll see there's some goodwill, then we can talk.
And we can talk. But that's all I can say. That's the conflict that I'm wrestling with right now.
Awesome. I think to just wrap up this conversation, I like asking the questions. I don't. It's so easy when you're the one asking, and then until you have to give your opinion. It's. I think one of the reasons why I really understand why our generation, and I feel the exact same way, is really on the finya mode. It's because it's the only thing we have seen bearing fruit for the past I don't know how many years. Like in such a short amount of time. It has taken
20 years for us to see, we can andamana and something can happen.
And something can happen because like this route that we are saying that they keep running to of dialogue, if dialogue worked, honestly, would things be looking the way they are looking right now?
We've always been hearing dialogue.
We've always been hearing dialogue. But the second a little pressure is applied, and I really enjoyed the Mandamano because the days that I attended, because there was just no violence. It was like you can see everybody knows why they are there. It was so good to just stand up and actually stand for something, and seeing that bearing fruit, literally it getting to the place of presidential assent, and he's the one who, man, you also get a sort of like a dopamine high. You're like, wow,
we achieved this.
Yeah. So, but like Mutemi has said, and even Timo, I think we have to be extremely cautious in how we are proceeding forward, because media has said 50 lives. Could be more.
Could be more.
It literally could be more. We don't have the exact statistics. Nothing is worth a human life. It's been a big sacrifice that we have had to pay to get up to where we are. We've not reached, like, we've not finished with what we are trying to achieve. But now it's everyone to sit and just assess. God has given you a brain to think. You don't just go on Twitter and follow whatever is being said by politicians who may have other interests, people who have hijacked the movement because of their own
personal
gain. Yeah. The same way the movement started by us reading and understanding why we are undermining. Don't ever get to the place where you're just following blindly, complacently, and just riding on emotions completely. Because fine, it's an emotional movement. We are angry to mechoka, but we are intellectuals. Tuliamba sisi tunapandanga Uber na tunakula KFC.
Let us maintain status quo.
Use your head. Just use your head before you repost anything, before you go behind any train of thought, because that is what has gotten us up to this point. So even as we continue and see how the political space turns out in the next couple of weeks and months to come, we put our trust in God and try not also to throw the country into complete pandemonium and chaos, because we need a country to thrive. We need a country to work, so that we can move forward. So, yeah, I think we have shared our thoughts adequately. It's been a good one. I know we're probably going to have part 2 for this, but
maybe they can tell us in the comments how has it been for them since they've started, if they went to the dingo. And
how was your experience? And also, do you feel like we should continue to finya?
Ama
to relax kidogo.
Tukunywa kachai tuone. Actually watu wanaenda therapy. Watu wanaenda therapy after hiyo.
Things are hot. Yeah, so thank you so much for tuning in to the Vineyard Podcast. We will see you next time right here on Wednesday. Bye bye.
#Occupy Vineyard.
Occupy Vineyard. We are not the enemy.
As in wakuja watuone.
It means Occupy ni tricky. Hata usiseme wakuja utusalimie.
Hapana, tutaki
kusalimiwa. Labda kutembelewa lakini kusalimiwa hapana.
We are done.